Ladies and gentlemen, what you are seeing today is a battle from one of my streams. Now, if you guys haven't been able to make it, it is completely okay. I love streaming. I do it decently often throughout the week. So make sure you guys come out for one of the streams. But this is one of the battles in our Empire campaign that's just happened. So if you look here, we are outnumbered. You can see how greatly outnumbered we are. 1,700 to 5,200. That is almost 3 times our number. But we have to defend for the Empire. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what. This battle comes down to the wire. So you are going to have to stay to watch the whole thing. As you can see, the vampires are massing their massive army here in the tree. We see skeleton warriors. We see zombies. We see fellbats off in the distance. And ladies and gentlemen, none other than the generals are also walking amongst their rank. And of all things, you might be wondering, how could this battle be that close? I mean, I see some crypt ghouls. I see a lot of zombies, though. Zombies are just numbers. Well, let me tell you what. There's these certain guys over here called crypt horrors, and they are going to play a very vital role in this battle. So let's speed things up here, get the battle up to pace, and then yeah, here they go. So the vampires do start charging forward now at us. And I have to conserve ammo in this fight. I have 1 unit of archers, which is sitting right here. You can see I have crossbows right here. I have 2 units of swordsmen ready to defend them against any fellbats that come to attack. And also, I have 2 units of artillery, and I have a unit of swordsmen back here to protect them. And that is it. I do have 3 units of cav. I have 3 units, or 2 units of Empire Knights, and 1 unit of... Oh wait, no, I just have 3 units of Empire Knights in this army. So yeah, this is what we got, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't much. It really ain't much. We have some spearmen over here with no shields, so they're just standing there with spears. And the army of the undead is on the march. Alright, speed things up a little bit more again until we start to see that they are well within artillery range now. And they actually, no, they are not quite within artillery range. I'll speed up till they get within artillery range, because that's when this battle does start to kick off. And it should be right about now. Alright, so you can also see that I am moving some of the reserves now. I'm moving over 2 more units of swordsmen over to that flank from my reserves here in the back. And you can see just how low my reserves really are. I have 2 units of swordsmen, 1 more unit of spearmen here. And that's really it for my reserves. I have a couple units of swordsmen, but they're kind of tasked with defending the crossbows off the start here. I have 1 unit of swordsmen here in the back, but they're defending the artillery, and then I have 3 units of cav. So I really just don't have the manpower to expend everywhere. And also I do have a general. I have Dieter Schmid here in the back. You see Broski posted up here for us. Looking gangsta, looking absolutely gangsta. But we are just waiting for that first salvo from the mortars to fire. I do not have them on fire at will because we need them to conserve their ammo. But you can see here that the army of the undead is starting to get close. We see skeletons now starting to push up that right flank to get to those spearmen and swordsmen over there. And also the zombies and skeletons are pushing forward right up the gut into 2 little choke points. So of course I have this choke point that I'm going to hold, and then I'm going to try to make this into a choke point as well by using the cav to kind of hammer and anvil the sides. So yeah, we'll see if the artillery does start to open up, and there it goes, ladies and gentlemen. First mortar screaming overhead now. You can see a little bit of archer fire coming down into those zombies from my crossbows, but you can see that the mortar round is hanging in the air here. We're going to follow it in, and you can see that it is tracking towards this group of zombies over here, I believe. Or is it tracking towards this one? I think it might be tracking towards this one, and it's just going to miss. So yeah, a first miss from that mortar there. But you can see some more mortars flying through the air as we speak, heading straight into the enemy zombie ranks. And this right here is the first start of a great mortar hit, hitting some dire wolves, hitting some zombies, sending them flying. So more and more mortars are going to continue to fly in here. You can see them actually, a couple of them clipped the fell bats as the fell bats came soaring in, and the crossbows are now going to begin firing on those fell bats as they do get close. And yeah, you see fell bats go down into the crossbows. Crossbows fall back as the swordsmen charge in. Perfect execution there. And now here we go, the zombies and dire wolves engaging in combat against my infantry. You can see that my infantry doing their best to hold the line. Fell bats in the back lines going against some more of those swordsmen here. Mortar fire still raining down supreme. You also see that there is a life leech going on from their generals on a couple of my units. Over on the left flank, again, we do start to see that my cav is now being mobilized. We have some Empire Knights going for dire wolves, Empire Knights going for crypt ghouls, and some Empire Knights looking like they're going to be going for those skeleton warriors. But we see that the spearmen are already engaged with some skeleton warriors here, going to try their best to hold that flank. And you can also see that one of their generals is now charging forward into one of my spear units. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. You can see across the front, my cav are doing a great job with that charge. Now engaging with the crypt ghouls, doing a great job at destroying those dire wolves, but fell bats do come in clutch there. And now we are going to look and remember these guys. So our right flank is going to be the one with most of the mortar support. I mean, you can see how much they're just bunching up there. The crypt horrors choose this flank. Now, our left flank is very weak. We have a couple units of infantry and the crossbowmen in support. You can see them firing down into the skeleton warriors, but that's really it. So I'm going to have to move over a couple of these units of infantry over to support momentarily here. But you can see that the mortars are already just eating up. Oh, that's some friendly fire, though. That's a little bit of friendly fire. But that's okay. That's okay with the sheer amount of enemies over here. We need these mortars to continue pouring down into the enemy. We need big hits like that right there. We need more and more hits like that from those mortars here. So you can see every single hit is monumental in this fight right now. So the mortar's doing a great job at trying to help cut through these the men there. The general is also engaged in the battle. He is not doing great. I sent him in to try to take out Henrik here, but there's just too many enemies surrounding him, so he's taking a lot of unnecessary damage. Crossbow's also having a great view here of the enemy. Oh, this is just such a cool sight. Such a cool battle. But yeah, so crossbows continuing to pour rounds in. You can see them taking out enemies one by one there. Mankind fighting for their lives. The general here still fighting as well deep behind our lines. But I've sent a unit of swordsmen after him, so his life is slowly but surely trickling down. Over on the far flank, we see that my cav is doing a great job at trying to wipe out their flanking maneuver. But there is one unit of cav. I have some Empire Knights running for their lives over here, as we see crypt horrors slowly catching up to them. These Empire Knights need to continue to move on out, but it looks like I'm micromanaging somewhere else in the battlefield. There we go. I see that they got stopped and need to take back off again. Those crypt horrors are terrifying. We also start to see some fell bats are looking to fly down on our mortars, so that is why I kept that unit of swordsmen back. Alright, let's go check over the right flank again. Again, we're starting to see that the zombies are still just pushing against like everything we have here. They're doing a very good job at having overwhelming numbers, but I've done a great job at picking a space to where I can minimize those numbers, and I'm committing my last unit of swordsmen that is over on this flank. So there we go, pushing straight down the hill into melee combat. Goes the extra unit of swordsmen, and you can see just, oh man, the artillery fire is just gross. Now, one thing that I will say, you can see that the arrow is now white. Someone in my stream told me that if you, just like in Rome 2, if you hold Alt and click, you can tell your mortars to just fire in a specific place and not at a specific unit. So that is what I've begun doing for my mortars. I'm like, hey, fire here, not at a specific unit, so that way my mortars don't like target the front line stuff. And yeah, you can see that it has proven to be quite deadly. So there we go. Now their enemy general does end up breaking through our ranks here and starts charging full speed back here. I cannot have that. Henrik cannot get away, so I break away one of my units of swordsmen to go and try to distract him. I turned this unit of cav around to fight these crypt horrors. I know that's not a great fight for them, but I have no other choice for them at this point. This unit of Empire Knights, I've begun running a hammer and anvil in the back of some of the units over here. Their general is still wreaking havoc in my back lines, and things are still looking pretty perilous at this point in the battle. My crossbows now at 74 kills, continuing to just shoot arrows into the ranks here and just trying to do as much damage as possible. Now, you guys want to see something crazy? We are, like, the balance of power is slowly swaying in my favor, right? Look at how many kills the mortars have. 170 and 387. Do you know how insane that is to have 387 kills as that mortar unit? But they're continuing to pour down rounds over here, trying to crumble the enemy, and they are starting to do so. I also sent my general over to take care of Henrik, and also this extra unit of swordsmen I'm sending back over to take care of Henrik too. So hopefully with all of this stuff, we can get that general to fall relatively quickly. Archer fire continuing to pour in to try to support against just the sheer amount of enemies that are sitting there. Here we go. We can follow this cav charge in as they charge into the backs of some zombies. For Sigmar! Oh, it's so beautiful. A crushing cav charge into the back of those zombies. Let's see if we did start to wave them. No, but we did a significant amount of damage to them. And you can see that now I just have this unit of cav just bouncing, just pinballing between units. As that unit that was defending the artillery, I told them to get away from the artillery and go start to try to take care of these crypt horrors. They're going to do their best, but they are not meant for taking out large units like this. So between the cav and the crypt horror, or between the cav and the swordsmen, I'm just hoping that they do their best. And now I've changed the artillery's target. We are doing good enough on the other flank that I feel like right here is a juicy enough target that I cannot tell my artillery to turn down. So I tell them to just let loose into this massive crowd of undead, and it's going to be quite devastating. Now, the one issue is that these trees are in the way, so a couple of the shots will get blocked, but you can see just how devastating these mortar shots can be on this battlefield and with this setup. Let's go check over at how many kills they have at this point. 304 and 621, combining for almost 1,000 kills. These mortars are just eating up the enemies. And the crossbows still doing a great job at putting down supporting fire onto the enemies as well. You see just continuing to just fire away into the enemies. Mortars, though, the real MVPs of this battle. You can just see how much those shots are turning the tide here. Now, these crypt horrors do end up killing that unit of Empire Knights that was over here. You can see they're down to just 800 health, which is probably just, yeah, 16 guys left. But I do have another unit of Empire Knights close by. And you can also see, ladies and gentlemen, that the first general starts to crumble. The second general is not far behind. He has weak binding. And just as the army starts to fall, ladies and gentlemen, we start to see that the Empire reigns victorious. So if you guys did enjoy this battle and would like to see more like it, first of all, come out to the streams. The streams are great. I love interacting with you guys during those streams. Second of all, yeah, just subscribe, hit that like button, and of course, I will see you all next time. Peace.